I mean, I don't have to be friends with him. I'm not racist, but I don't want my daughter to marry a black guy, just period. Why? Give me a reason. Why do you think that is, or how do you think, give me a reason, how do you think that's not a racist comment? That's deep down in you, that you think you are better than someone else based on their color. And let's not even talk about the Indians, the Pakistanis, the Nepalis. That's a whole different discussion with the Arabs or even the North Africans. Really, I'm not sure because I never had a discussion with them. And when you tell them, for me, because I noticed even way worse racism. There's a difference between racism in North Africa, 100%, and the racism in the Middle East and the Arab world is a whole different level. I can tell you that the racism in North Africa is really based on lack of knowledge. You know, giving the passport for the security. It's always the same. There's no way this is your brother. There's no way this is your sister. There's no way you guys are family. Like, because he's the dark child and we are all like the white kids in the family. That's why when I grew up, I never ever saw color. I never understood there is really a difference between me and my brother or between me and my cousin who is super dark. I never thought it's an issue. It hurt me so bad when I heard these comments towards my brother. He used to also tell me, obviously, that the police in Germany would also stop him every now and then, just obviously based on him being a guy and an immigrant child and looks super dark with his beard as a Muslim guy in Europe. I have never ever been stopped. I have never ever been dealt with in a bad way. I'm a Muslim girl who wears hijab ever since I'm 11. I should also be actually affected by these attributes that I show to the world. However, I have never been. But growing up, having someone in your family actually going through that racism is so made me feel like, not I have to speak up for every single person, it just did not make sense to me. How on earth is someone that looks just slightly different than us is treated in a completely different way? And I started noticing this because when I got older, obviously, and I used to go to the beach, to Tunis, and like I said, I enter Tunis, I'm like a white kid. Obviously, I go to the beach on a daily basis and I come out being, you know, super tan and super dark. And my family, and I remember this neighbor, she would always say, oh my God, you used to be so pretty. What happened to you in the last couple of weeks? Now you're so, you know, they don't want to say ugly, but so, ooh, like, do something. You know, we have specific creams in Tunis and specific masks that keeps you white, and all that mentality that a white person or someone with a lighter skin, let's not say white person because we still obviously not white people, but someone with a lighter skin has always is always more beautiful, is always more pure. Many people want to speak to them, many people want to surround themselves with, and if you're dark, technically, oh yeah, he's nice, she's cute, but I mean, come on, she's a dark girl. You know, how many comments did I hear about, yeah, he's gonna marry this, yeah, but she's dark. Wallahi. And okay, let's continue.
You know, to some point, somebody would think maybe that black as a color is something that maybe people are not supposed to be associated themselves with. But it's high time that people should realize and understand that as black people, we are very proud of ourselves, and many a times we don't even want to be associated with many people or many things. Yeah, if somebody feels like he doesn't want to associate themselves with the black color or black community, it's okay. See, black community and black people, they have very many advantages. Look at what is happening right now in the United States of America. People are crying and they're suffering, and they're crying for the help from the black people because the black community isn't even giving a shit about what they're going through right now. The black community is quiet. And the fact that the black community is quiet, it means the black community loves what is happening. They are okay and comfortable with what is happening. That shows potential. Yeah, that shows endurism, that these people can be able to endure a certain kind of life. They can be able to go through a certain kind of life. It doesn't matter how difficult it is. Black community are very intelligent community. You see, the fact that we are seeing around, nobody is coming out into headlines, or rather nobody is coming out into books, being able to have invented some things or all those things. You see, even in the books we're using in school, you find out that we've never come across an invention that was made by a black person or a black community or something like that. But the truth is that black people invented a lot of things, but the white community tried to make it difficult for them to come out, for them to be seen, because they never wanted any black person to be seen, yeah, or any black person to be noticed or to be praised or something like that. Yeah, so they tried to hide every other thing like that. Now, this white Arab lady is talking about marrying black men, and he's saying she's like, she cannot be able to marry a black man, or she can't even come close or be a friend of black men or something like that. That is what she's saying, this white Arab lady. I want you to look at this video, and then I'll come back and talk about it.
Some Arabs are more racist than white people, and yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how my aunt called me Sheikh Led when I went to Lebanon. Let's talk about how they tell me to stay out of the sun because I'm already too dark. Let's talk about how I want my best friend to come with me to Lebanon, but I'd rather spare her a terrible experience. Let's talk about how if I fell in love with a black guy and married him, how hard that would be for me, how hard it would be for him, how many hurdles we would both have to jump through, how I really wouldn't want him around my extended family because I wouldn't feel comfortable and he wouldn't feel comfortable. It's really gross. Maybe we should start taking some accountability and stop denying it.
The religion of Islam is racist against black people. And I'm not making that up. If you think, oh, that sounds familiar, yes, Islam is actually a lot like Mormonism. That's why a lot of Muslims till this day treat black Muslim people as kind of like second-class Muslims. And I saw that a lot. I'm going to provide you with a hadith, okay? Or it's in the Quran, I'm not sure right now because I can't actually see the screenshot. I have to edit it in later, but I found that under a video in a comment section, and I was thinking about this for years, but I was just too lazy to look it up. So I found this, thanks my algorithm, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that it was talked about also in my family or religious Muslim friends that we had. So let's look at it for a second, okay? So in this story, it says that a black man came to the Prophet and he asked, what will happen if I fight and I got, unalived? So what will happen after, I leave this earth? And the Prophet said, well, you're gonna go to paradise. And then he said, yeah, I'm black and I'm ugly. You can read it here because I don't know exactly. He said I'm black and I'm ugly and blah, blah, blah. And then he kept on fighting and then he unalived. And then the Prophet said, you're gonna go to paradise and your face will be whitened and whatever. You can read it here. And a lot of Muslim people are like, no, that's out of context. You have to look at the context. And I'm looking at the context, okay? Now let's look at the context. Because the context is, they mentioned that he is black, okay? It's mentioned that he is a black person. And a lot of Muslim people, they argue and they say with whitened, it's not meant to, it's not that he got white or will be white in paradise. It's actually he will have a glow on his face. And that's not true, because why would they then mention that the man was black? That doesn't make sense. I look at the context and it's very clear that they mentioned on purpose that he was black to highlight the fact that black people in paradise or heaven will be white. So there was this girl. She was actually a friend of my mother's, and she was a German Namibian, and like they had still slaves when she was a kid. And I remember when I was a child, and she talked about this hadith or Quran verse, and she talked about it with my mother, and she was like, yeah, that's such a hard burden to be black, because I think they talked about it like a very, very dark black person. I don't know if they watched TV and then it came up like, oh, it's so hard, it's such a burden to be black in this world, but they will get like rewarded with white skin in paradise. And I remember I was a child and I was listening to them, and I mentioned that before, that there were like a lot of times as a child when I felt a lot smarter than actually my parents or adults, because I was there like the only sane person in that room with full of adults, and I was like, what are they talking about? Like being black is not an illness or something like that. It's not like you're cursed or something. And I never saw myself as cursed or anything. I was like, I love myself. I don't want to be white. You know what I mean? So I found that very odd, and yeah. And that's actually one of the reasons I'm no longer a Muslim, and I don't regret. When I look at things like that, I am so glad about my choices, and I don't think that I will ever regret them. For more.
Now, the lady is a Muslim, and she's a white Muslim, I think, and she was saying she can't be able to marry a black man. Now, I don't think black men need to be like they need help, or they need to be associated with, or they do not depend on anything or anybody for them to be able to survive, or for them to be able actually to live better or something like that. Black community themselves, they can be able to mind their own business, and they can be able to live better. Look at the black towns in the US. These black towns, black only towns, they are very grown. Look like a town like Ohio. Yeah, these are black towns that were built by the black community. And you see, the black community, they can be able to bring anything into action. They can be able to bring anything into position. Okay? And so you realize that even the US itself, it's built by the black community. And that is why when the black community are being expelled from these countries, what is happening is that the country looks like it's going to go down. It's going to fall down. Okay? It's going to fall down, actually. And you see, if things like this are happening, it means now that the black community have strength, the black community have potential, and many people are depending or should depend on the black community, because the black community can be able to do anything. US has been built by the black people, because the black people used to work and they used to do the difficult kind of jobs. They used to execute the hard jobs, and these jobs that are supposed to be they're difficult, and they never complained. Okay. And so the fact that even people are trying to maybe separate them or maybe segregate them does not even make them weak. Listen, look at how the black community have been segregated for years, and they're still hitting the headlines. Like, they're still the best, they're still important, they're still strong, they're still significant, they're still this crucial kind of people, and the fundamental kind of people that people need to actually look at them and all that. Okay? And so you find out that the black community doesn't really need other people to accompany them or other people to walk along with them for them to be able to live a certain kind of life. We already can take care of ourselves. We already can actually protect ourselves and live the life that we want to live without even their help. So I don't see the reasons why this woman would come out and say, I can marry a black man. It is like she's making black people look like they are less potential, or maybe they're less important or something like that. You see, people have made a black color look like a bad color, and it is something started during colonization, where you see even black people, they were made even to hate themselves. Black people were made to hate their cultures, to hate their future, to hate how the kind of life they were living, to hate their religions, to hate their way of worship, to hate everything. And therefore, the life we're living today, we're not living the life that we're supposed to be living as the black community. We are living a white man's life. Okay, many things we're doing it because we were influenced by a white man. We were taught how to hate ourselves. We were taught how we are not important and how the white men are superior than us. And therefore, that is why even when a white man comes into a black man's country, you feel like they're looking like they want to worship him or something like that. They're looking like they want to praise him or something like that. It is only the black community that lives in the United States of America or in diaspora, they understand that, you see, the black community, actually the white community is just a same community as us. They're not important. But when you come to Africa, we've not been able to have exposed ourselves so much and gone out so much and understood a lot of things. And that is why you realize that people tend to actually praise and worship, to actually look at the white community or white people as superior than us. And that is why even our leaders, they're giving more attention to the white leaders, thinking they're better than us, and that is why our countries are living the way they're living. So we don't need anybody as black community to associate themselves with us. So I just want to say, and this is just my opinion, that this lady wouldn't have come out and said this because it does not even make any sense. It is making it look like the black community needs the white community or anybody who is white for them to blend our lives to look better. No, we don't need it. Yeah. In fact, according to me, I think the black community should be respected so much for the things they've been able to do and for the things they are continuing to do, because we've witnessed in recent days and in recent years that the white community cannot really do without the black community. And therefore, I think the black community should, in one way or the other, be respected. Tell me what you think or what you think. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you have said in the comment section. I'll do my best to make sure I read the comments and give a response where possible. Welcome back again. Thanks for watching Black Empire.